You don't need an account to use it, so it's just going to be super fast.
You don't need to open an account?
Nothing. You just open a browser window and you can use SideShift. I think that people who say, okay, I don't want to self-custody, I'll keep it on an exchange. I think they're making a very, very bad choice and they don't understand Bitcoin well. Because with a minimal amount of research, you can have a super secure setup where you're not going to be robbed by the bank.
Hi, Andres. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. Can you present yourself and what you're doing for our audience quickly?
Absolutely. So I'm a Bitcoin lifer by this point. You know, back in the day, I used to say that my profession was an engineer. It still is, but at this point, I guess I'm an engineer in crypto because I've been in. I got started in Bitcoin in about 2011, and
That's
I
early.
started. Yeah, I started working. Well, I started investing in 2012, and also working on my first ideas for businesses and startups that was using Bitcoin back then. And you know how it is. Like there was no way back. So I've been in the Bitcoin space since then. And yeah, so today I'm not going to go through all the projects I've worked on because there's a few. But I was running an exchange back in Europe, which would have been 2014, 15, 16, which I sold to which I had an exit then to a company in Hong Kong back then for reasons of regulation, which I'm sure you know plenty about. And then I joined Kraken for a while. I worked there for a few years, back when it was still pretty small. And these days I run an exchange, which I'm the founder of, called SideShift, which is digital only. So we don't do fiat banking, which is why I'm happy and sleep well at night.
So it's an exchange, but at the same time it's digital only. So is it an exchange or is the exchange the right terminology?
Well, for an expert like you, I would say it's a retail-faced OTC desk.
Okay.
Is what I would say. It's a bit easier to call it an exchange or coin swap. But yes, it's like an OTC desk, but for retail users who want to buy and sell.
So people download your app, SideShift.ai, and then they can send crypto and exchange them into any other cryptos, basically.
Exactly.
And what's the difference between doing it on a DEX? You have better terms, I suppose.
Well, on a DEX, you're limited to staying on the same chain for most of the part.
True.
There are some ways you can use stuff like Thorchain Thorswap if you're very brave, and they have delays and fees and stuff like this. And there are some cross-chain stuff, mostly between just Ethereum clones. But if you want to have true cross-chain anything to anything today, you will have to go through centralized exchange like us.
Okay, so the best example, if I want to switch a bit from Bitcoin to Ethereum or vice versa, it's not the same blockchain, so you cannot do it on a DEX. You need to go through multiple process, whereas on your exchange, you can have it directly done in your app instantly, I suppose.
It's really, really quick. So yeah, so that's the advantage. And especially if you start getting into more esoteric stuff, and believe me, people trade super esoteric pairs. Like people will exchange USDT on Tron for some minor altcoin on Solana. People do very, very esoteric pairs with us all the time, which is what I like to see.
And then if you download the app, how is the onboarding process? There is a KYC. How is the cumbersome elements for a user? Like if I want to download it now, because when I hear you, like I was thinking about last weekend, I have like a Coinbase wallet and on my phone, and I wanted to buy some Tether with my Bitcoins, but I couldn't. So I had to go to Stripe to buy
Yeah.
some, and then they got to the whole ID verification and so on, and then it failed. I don't know why, so I wasn't able
Yes.
to buy any.
Yeah, man,
And
I
on the
was banned
Coinbase app,
from.
you can switch a lot of on the same blockchain. A lot of like I could switch my Ethereum to Tether Ethereum, but I
Mhm.
couldn't switch my Bitcoin to Tether. So how does it work
Oh,
on your exchange?
wow. Well, I mean, I think my Coinbase account was banned like 8 years ago. I can't even remember the reason,
Yeah. No, but me, I was using the Coinbase wallet, not the Coinbase account. See what I mean?
but
Like
that's
it
not the
is a
same.
no,
Oh,
no.
wow.
It's a wallet which is different from the exchange. On the
Wow.
exchange, I can change any crypto into any other, but on
Mm.
the wallet, I can only go through DEXs basically.
Wow. Sounds like we need to have a call with people doing their product development at Coinbase. It sounds a bit
Yeah.
confusing. So, no, on SideShift, you don't need an
How does it
account to
work on
use
your
it.
exchange?
You don't need an account to use it. So, so it's just going to be super fast.
You don't need to open an account, so you don't need to.
Nothing. You just open a browser window and you can use SideShift.
Wow. So you just put the wallet. You want to get the other currency, and you send your crypto to one wallet, and you get crypto
That's
on
it.
other wallet.
Exactly. I'm sure if you're familiar with using an OTC process, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So this means for the benefit of you and us that you cannot use SideShift as a bank. You cannot have a balance with us. That is not possible.
Okay.
So for you,
So you
that's
can
great
only
because you
switch basically.
that's it. For you, that's great because you should not be keeping a balance with an exchange. It's everybody who did that in the past has been a disaster for them, from BitInstant and MTGOX to FTX to Bybit to, well, Bybit didn't lose the users' funds as far as I'm aware, but the list is just endless. So that solves that problem for you, and it solves the problem for us because I don't want to be sitting on your money, you know,
Yeah.
especially if I'm not making yield for you. Why should I sit on your money? Doesn't make any sense. So we just skip all those parts, and that makes life easier for everybody.
Okay, so you opened a very interesting topic, so let's dive straight into it. The debate of self-custody versus exchange custody,
Yeah.
which I think is as long as Bitcoin exists. And
Wow. Yeah.
I have tried all solutions, you know. The problem is with self-custody, you get like people are not used to having so much money. If the amount becomes like decent,
Yeah.
have so much money sitting somewhere where they are responsible for it. It's like
Yeah.
sleeping with gold bars under your pillow. You're always afraid that somebody will steal it, something will happen, will lose it, etc. So in real life, what you usually do is put your gold at a bank safe, and it's protected. It's like 24/7 security and insured. Today in Bitcoin, we don't have the insurance part. We have like the protection with the guards and so on. And that's why all the ETFs are custodying mainly with Coinbase. Basically, I would say this is the main custodian today worldwide, or centralized custodian that is the most serious and the most established and the most trusted. So how do you sleep well at night self custodying your crypto?
Yeah. So I mean, I got into Bitcoin because I don't want to have my money in the bank. There's I don't trust the bank worth anything for storing my money. It's just I simply don't trust it at all. To me, the banks, the way they are today in most of the world, it's just an extension of the government. It's just completely, it's run by regulators. They can't do anything interesting. That's why they never have any new products or anything. It's because it's completely frozen in time, right? And I mean, the last you mentioned having gold bars in your house versus at the bank. But I remember the last time I had a safety deposit box at the bank, It took a couple of years, and they just said, "Oh, we're discontinuing the service. You have to collect your stuff within this and that date, or it's gone." You know.
Hmm.
So I would much rather have the gold bars in my house because I don't trust banks at all. So it may seem risky to you or to someone to self custody your crypto, which if you have enough money, right? So it matters, is not a big deal. There's companies out there like Casa, Wallet, and many others. You just talk to them on the phone, and they will set this all up for you with hardware wallets and backups, and so your wife and your kids and a lawyer, and they deal with inheritance and everything, and it'll cost you a few $100s to have a completely secure setup for Bitcoin. So
Okay.
I
Casa
think I
wallet.
think I think people are just Kaza.
Okay.
You can Google it. It's run by
I'll try to
what?
invite them on the show.
Yes, one of the founders is called Jameson Lopp. He's one of the top security experts in Bitcoin and has been
Yeah,
for
I think I follow him on Twitter. Yeah.
yeah. So and they're not the only one. So I think that people who say, okay, I don't want to self custody, I'll keep it on an exchange. I think they're making a very, very bad choice and they don't understand Bitcoin well. Because with a minimal amount of research, you can have a super secure setup where you're not going to be robbed by the bank. And for the listeners who think the bank is not going to rob them, just go and read of the history of fiat currency and what
Mm.
happens when there's a conflict anywhere. They're going to take your money. They're absolutely going to take your money.
Okay,
So it's much much safer to self custody, I think.
and once you have self-custodied, like also one of the advantages of centralized exchange is that you can then go back and forth between traditional finance and crypto, basically. So
Yeah.
if I'm self-custodying and I needed to buy some tether,
Hmm.
or I needed to wire some money on my bank account because my electricity bill is due and they don't accept crypto yet,
Hmm.
I still need somewhere to sell my bitcoins or to sell my tether and send the money. So it is convenient to have like a centralized exchange as a way to go back and forth between traditional finance and the crypto.
Yeah. And I mean, what's becoming much more popular these days is people are getting debit cards and credit cards that you can top up with Bitcoin. So this way you can handle basically all of your expenses
So you
with just
still
having
need a centralized exchange.
yes, but so these card services, I believe Gemini has launched one. There's many Tether partners have them, but I think there's quite Bybit has one, Binance has them. And then you get a card you can just put crypto on and it'll probably convert it automatically. You don't have to worry about it. So I think that's at
Combination
least
of a
having
little bit of money on sex to
yeah.
spend and the big part on self custody, so you don't leave your Bitcoin on exchanges, basically.
And for sure, if you have say a few 100,000 euros or up, you should store it on a hardware wallet in a self-custody setup. And then just top up your checking account, as the Americans call it, right? With the
Mm.
money you're gonna spend in the next month.
Okay,
Don't put all of your money on your debit card. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, I see what you mean. And what about the ETFs? Because this is also like a centralized solution
Mm.
which connects very well with the traditional banking route, and also it connects very well with all your investment packages and tax optimized investment pockets and so on.
Yeah. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I've never had any TradFi instruments. I've never owned any shares. I will never own any shares. I'm never going to buy an ETF. I'm never going to buy any of that stuff because the rules of the game here is they buy our stuff. We don't buy their stuff. That's how you that's how the future looks. So I'm not interested. I understand. I understand there's certain organizations out there. that are limited in what they can do. So you can only buy ETFs if you want to buy Bitcoin. Then if it's not an option for your business to just buy Bitcoin and self-custody it under the business, if you're some financial institution that can only buy ETFs, then okay, fine, I'll give you a pass, you know. But if you're a normal person, just you need to get out of TradFi. It's the you've had more than 10 years now. I don't think there's any more excuses. The ETFs, I know there's a lot of Bitcoiners selling it, and I'm not against that. Any way we can get the boomers to buy Bitcoin is okay. But for people who know how to use a computer, just do it yourself.
Okay. But now you open a new element of discussion
Yeah.
is you invest only in nothing in TradFi, like no
Never.
T-bills, no S&P,
I
no
don't even know what that is
Tesla,
now.
nothing. So that's a very strong conviction too, which I do share. But for the sake of argument, like you cannot compare investing in Bitcoin with investing in the next Tesla. First of all, if you
Yeah,
had
I don't want to invest in Tesla.
sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to invest in Tesla. I don't want to invest in Nvidia. I know nothing about these businesses, you know? I don't have any conviction there. But in Bitcoin, I have the same conviction today I've always had, which is it's the best form of currency we have, and it's the best form we're going to see for a long time. So everyone will have to they're going to have to exchange their gold for Bitcoin. It's the only thing that makes sense, and we're nowhere close to that. So for me, it's just I can't imagine anything that would be as worthwhile to put my money into.
So you think the opportunity of growth in Bitcoin will beat the opportunity growth in any other TradFi asset you can buy on average?
Yeah,
Or maybe you
yeah, for
have like
sure.
1 in a million shares that will skyrocket
Yeah,
and maybe beat Bitcoin performance, but it's very hard to tell which one. So
yeah.
you're much better off putting your money on the one where you have a clear conviction and a very, very strong potential, basically.
Yeah, and I have, I mean, you can look around this AI bubble, Everybody agrees we're in an AI bubble. We just don't agree where in the bubble we are. We're probably very early. There's probably years left. But man, if you're putting all your money into Nvidia now and suddenly you're an expert on computer chips, you are gonna blow up. We don't know when, but you're gonna blow up. That's just how it's gonna be. And if you put your money downstream in the AI companies, like OpenAI or something like that, you're going to blow up even worse
Uh,
because you're just buying IP, I guess. So, so yeah, it's been an amazing few years for the people who bought things related to AI, and it's going to be a huge AI boom. But I just don't have the level of conviction where I can sit around speculating stuff I don't understand, and that's
mm.
clearly in a bubble because yeah, I'm here for the long game.
Okay. And one other like argument that I hear most of the time about Bitcoin is its volatility. So you cannot, how can you sleep at night with this
Yeah.
volatility and so on? So it's so volatile that it's not a reasonable investment.
I think
I'm
it's
trying. I'm
too
trying to
too
be the devil's
low.
advocate, but
No, no, man, no, I love it because you're raising stuff we both care about. I think the volatility is too high. This has been so boring for like the last 3 years. It's like nothing's happening. The I mean, the price has doubled this year, but
you
it's
mean
been
volatility is too low or too high? I don't understand.
the volatility is too low. I'm like dying of boredom over here. This is not the Bitcoin that I know and love. So I hope we see more volatility, especially. Yeah, man. I hope we just get a crazy bull run now with way more volatility, probably followed by a crash as we complete the 4 year cycle, maybe next year. But I like the volatility. It just means nobody can put a price on it yet, right? Like we can't
Yeah.
agree on what it's worth because it's so new. So it shows me that we're nowhere near knowing the price of Bitcoin. And
Yeah, I have a different take on that. I agree that because when there's volatility, there's a lot of opportunity because like the market is not decided yet.
mhm.
But at the same time, like I hear this term volatility in finance as if it was a bad thing, you know. But non-volatile stocks are the less growing, the more boring,
Yeah, dead.
and even if you don't like volatility, you can have the T-bills volatility just by putting just a little bit of Bitcoin in your portfolio, you know, like you can
Mm.
reduce the volatility by reducing
Yeah.
your allocation to Bitcoin. So for me,
Mm.
volatility is a false measure, but it is used as an argument, you know, like and
Yeah.
and what I took a deep thinking into it, and I find that like volatility is a kind of life, and we're
Yeah.
trying to live our lives without being like too volatile, you know, like one day we marry, the second day we divorce, the third day we have children, the fourth day, like
Hmm.
everything in society tends to have like a very quiet and organized and planned world. And this is all like manipulated by governments and so on. Like every step you do, like out of the normal step, it you get repressed, fined, etc. So human beings have been like taught to be less volatile, and when something volatile comes, they go like, hold on, this is like fire, you know, we don't want it, but fire is
Yeah.
good. It brought us like so many advancements. We just need to master it and understand it properly.
Man, I've been thinking about this in the last few days. I've been thinking about this a lot. That I wonder, like, what is the real inflation we've been seeing, especially since COVID? Because I don't understand how, and I'm thinking about this because we're seeing the price of gold reaching all-time highs every day, right?
Yeah.
So I've been wondering, how can you know what the inflation is? Because they like to measure inflation in goods, but that doesn't work because it's cheaper to make stuff every year. So if the prices remain constant, that would mean that the currency was going down very quickly because
Yeah.
everything should be getting cheaper a lot. The cost to produce, the time and effort it takes to make a flat screen TV, how much is that going down every year? It's like 10%, 20%, I don't know. So by now, like the TV, they should just be giving them away. But what we see is that the price of a TV is steady and sort of going up. So I was thinking about this a lot, like how do you measure inflation? We can measure against gold, but gold is a weird one for me because it's this thing, it has a long history, but you can sort of use it for stuff. It's limited in supply because it's too hard to mine and some stuff. And you can do real estate, but it's difficult because only some real estate is scarce. I believe Michael Saylor was
Mm.
talking about that only really beachfront is scarce because very few people are making more beachfront. I think it's basically just China.
Mm.
So, but other real estate, you can just make more because you can develop, you can start building houses, places where people didn't want to live in the past. Because now with the internet and food delivery, you can live further away from the city. But beachfront, gold, Bitcoin, these are the things I know. So, and I've been wondering this because of the gold getting to all-time highs. It makes me wonder, is Bitcoin really going up? Or is the dollar just going down super fast because Trump is obviously the biggest spender anyone has seen in a long time? I've been thinking about this a lot. Maybe I have too much spare time, but I do worry because I feel like Bitcoin is not really going up. I think it may have been very flat, and just inflation is approaching these not Venezuela levels, but we're in this territory now.
Yeah, I find gold a good inflation indicator, but the
Mm.
problem I find with gold, it's like for a lot of investors, it's out of trend, so out of fashion. In Europe, for
Yes.
example,
Mm. Mm.
they are like zero allocation or like a
Yeah.
very small allocation to gold,
Mm. So it has no
because it's a
volatility.
cultural thing, you know, like everybody will agree on the waterfront, but not everybody will agree on gold. So there
Mm.
is like a small gold believers, but it's not like a global consensus about it.
Mm. So how do we know how Bitcoin is performing?
And the way and Bitcoin has the same issue is that there's very few people who see it as an inflation hedge. So
Mm.
it's at the same time going up because there's a money printing, but at the same time it's still a speculative instrument. So it
Yeah,
is driven by the markets and so on. So tomorrow as the S&P crashes, gold will go up, but Bitcoin will
we'll go
go
down.
flat or down still because
Yeah,
it's still like a beast in the making. So
yeah,
for me, looking at it from the understanding of today's world, how they see Bitcoin, plus there's a lot of paper hands, you know, a lot of leverage, a lot of futures. It's like crypto is one of the most leveraged assets out there, you know, like 100 times leverage on an exchange is like very common, you know, in the crypto world, which you don't find in traditional finance, or very few maybe in the forex, and
yeah.
because
CFT.
it doesn't move basically, so they had to put some leverage. But you will not find any venue where you get like 100 times leverage on Tesla, for example. Whether you
Mm.
get it on Dogecoin or
Yeah,
other crappy, much more volatile stuff, basically. So there's a lot of paper hands, and it's hard to get. I want to switch to building a business on crypto because you have been like you're very strong on. I don't know if you're a maxi because you also have a crypto exchange. So how do you balance your convictions between Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptos?
yeah. It's very easy because I'm more than 95% BTC.
Okay, so that solves the equation.
Yes. So so that just makes it very, very easy. But the last 5% is all over the place. I have stuff I can barely pronounce. And I love looking at DeFi. I like looking into DeFi protocols and all kinds of chains. I follow new projects. There's an exciting one launching just now, an Ethereum clone with better performance.
What's
Monad.
okay?
The pre-trading is open on the pre-market is open on Hyperliquid today, and it's going crazy. And I remember when they had meme coins on Solana. I bought like the Trump one, and I've been very interested in these kind of DeFi companies, Hyperliquid, Athena, these kind of transparent basis trading companies, people trying to combine stable coins with like yield strategies. I love all this stuff, DeFi. So I think it's possible to be a Bitcoin, sort of a Bitcoin maxi in what I own, and also be very interested in just all the new stuff.
Okay, but I mean, I've been following all the non-Bitcoin cryptos since I got into Bitcoin. I got a little bit later than you in 2013,
That's
but
plenty early.
yeah, and I followed the ICO craze. I
Yeah, yeah,
followed like the DeFi boom and bust, and it's been like a while now, and there is no like clear use case for all this. You know, like it's very interesting for a geek,
yeah,
you know, but every time I go down one rabbit hole, at the end I
mm,
say, okay, and so where are people using it? Like, and I find like I came to the conclusion that all these cryptos are a new form of casino, you know, unlicensed casino. And
which is the
the
best
best
type of casino.
illustration was the meme coin stuff, where they said, okay, the meme coin was like, okay, let's forget about the white papers and all the tech and stuff, and just
I think it's
let's
better.
have
Yeah,
let's have fun and to play the lottery game, you know, because
yeah,
and this is in human nature also to play lottery. That's why they are casinos, and people spend a lot of money knowing that the house is gonna win, but they still go there and for the hope of getting it right on one thing. But But I don't see like how, like it's been so long and so many tries and so many hyped stuff that failed or didn't yield anything interesting, that I wonder, like 10 years from now, will something emerge, and what would be the emerging stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I try to list up these things for myself every once in a while. So I would say we got prediction markets. That took a long time, but we have Poly market, which is on chain and sufficiently decentralized, which in my opinion is because it's transparent, right? If you do all the bets on chain, then you can argue how decentralized it is, but it's certainly transparent, which is much better than not. Because in a transparent market, you know there's not too much wash trading or you're not being screwed, right? And they
Yeah,
use
but at the same time, it is decentralized, but it is transparent. Okay, fine, but it's not like the countries can still go after you, and they shut them down in the U.S. Now they're reopening. I don't know how they were able. They had to acquire an exchange to be able to reopen. So for me, like it's more like a marketing thing, because at the end it is a sex, it is a
yeah,
centralized betting stuff where they put some stuff like more transparent, but that's it, and you can go on Betfair and take the same bets. So what's the use case? Okay, it's transparent. So what? I don't care. I just need my bet to. If
yeah,
Real Madrid is cheaper to buy it on Betfair rather than on Poly Market, I'd rather buy it on Betfair. I don't care about transparency. I mean, transparency is important, but it's not like the amazing use case that will change life for all the bettors.
yeah. I mean, it's easy for you. I was banned from Betfair when I was a teenager because I was doing because I don't think they like because I was doing arbitrage on horses and
Really?
football and stuff. Yeah, yeah. That's one of my first
I
things.
did that too at one stage, yeah.
It's a good time. But I
Yeah.
don't know why, but they banned me from the site. So I can't actually use Betfair. So for
Because
me,
you're a
Polymarket will be
teenager,
good.
and that's normal, I don't want my son who's a teenager go
Oh no,
spending my money.
no, I was 18 plus. I was
Oh, you were 18 plus
properly.
because they banned you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they like my action basically, because I was running bots on there. Arbing. Who
Okay.
knows? So so that's a positive thing. I don't know if you can get banned from Polymarket, but I haven't been banned from there
I mean,
yet.
you have all the US customers have been banned from Poly Market because they didn't have a license to operate in the US.
Mhm. So yeah, I think it comes to one of this not letting perfect be the enemy of good, because I think Polymarket is a huge improvement over Betfair and the transparency, and then hopefully it can reach a critical mass and get some competitors so it won't be easily shut down again. And
Mm.
then if you want to get super niche, one thing I've used DeFi for is when I don't want to sell my coins, BTC, but I had to buy something like buy a house, then I put the BTC on Aave. Actually, I put it
Okay.
on a different one as well. I put it there and I borrowed the USDT over collateralized, and I paid for the house with a USDT because I know I can do the same on a SEX and I don't have to be over collateralized. But this was just after FTX, so I didn't feel comfortable leaving the BTC on an exchange to have a loan. So I figured this smart contract, it's Aave, it's been running for so many years, never been hacked. How bad can it be? So that is super, super niche. And I hope we get something where I could do the same thing, but without knowing so much about DeFi. Like I
Yeah.
wish I could just get the same effect, but with just an app on my phone where I had the BTC and I just sent out the USDT without knowing about the lending market and rates and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I do like the over collateralized loans on chain. I think there's something there, but it's just not user friendly. So, what comes of that use case, I'm not sure, because I'm also a bit different. Most people take up a mortgage to buy a house. Me, I would rather live in a paper, in a cardboard box that I can afford, so I don't have to get a loan. I
Hey,
understand this is
hold
not
on. That's
normal
an interesting point. Why you don't like loans?
because it's TradFi. I have to give my money and trust the boomers. I don't want to. I guess
Well,
if
they
I
are
could,
giving you the money. You're not giving them the money.
yeah, but I'm paying them for the service, right?
Okay, so you're very like anti. Like, even if you're getting money from them, because if you want to buy a house today, like for example in Europe, you can borrow like almost 100% of the price.
Hmm.
So you borrow it. I don't like it because I think the money you're gonna pay every month, if you DCA it in Bitcoin, you get like 10
Exactly.
houses in by the time you have paid it. But
Yeah, no, so
still,
I haven't been so philosophical about it, but it just makes sense for me to have Bitcoin instead.
mm.
Uh, but the question is, uh, when are we going to be able to buy a house where we can use the BTC as collateral to get a loan or something like that? I'm not sure how that would work, or just like people getting loans with the BTC as collateral, I think is going to get more popular.
Yeah, but
So that's
you know
interesting.
what? I've been down this rabbit hole too, and like first of all, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, you realize that there's a lot of monetary premium in a house.
Yes.
So that's the last thing you want to buy, because you're buying something too expensive. You'd
Yes.
rather hold Bitcoins than buying a house. And then when you take off this investment part of the house that is ingrained in people's mentality because it's a safe haven of investment, and you take off the monetary premium and you keep just the utility, then you don't need a house. You just need to rent and let
Yeah,
some
but it's hard to rent. It's hard to rent a place because you end up in a situation where the person who owns the house, they want to sell it,
you
or there's
move.
modifications and
You
customizations you don't want to make.
yes, but it's much easier than owning a place because you have bad
Yeah.
neighbors, you have problems, you have
Oh
like
man,
all that
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Man, if I can tell you all my real estate experience of owning real estate, it's like a nightmare.
Oh
I,
wow.
I took a decision that will never own real estate ever in my life. And I let the landlord worry about like leaks, problems. My
Yeah, yeah.
AC today is not working. I just call him and he buzzers fixing it. I don't need to, and he's happy to do it because I'm paying him a rent for that. And if you look at cars,
Yeah.
for example, which is also
That's
a
even
utility,
worse.
yeah, but it's not an investment. So you're
No.
happy if it's rented or if it's owned. You don't care. You just need
Yeah.
the utility. And once the monetary premium of real estate is gone, the utility will stay and you'll be renting, and that's it. And some people will make a little bit of money, like rental car rental companies, and you'll take their service and you'll be good.
Yeah, and when it comes to real estate, this drives me crazy. Everybody thinks that you make money from buying a house, and it drives me crazy because they always tell you, "Man, I bought this house 5 years ago and I sold it for this much more. I'm a genius." And I'm almost like taking out my big like Hayek book, and I'm like, no, showing up with Man, Economy, and State. But I don't know, man. I think the government just tricked people into thinking the
Yeah,
houses go up in price, and it drives me crazy because if real estate went up in price, then people would have businesses that built houses like this, and just own
exactly.
houses. But very few people do because it's a terrible business. And I know there's tax incentives and stuff, but still, like, no, buying a house, like you
No,
said,
it's even worse
it's a
because
losing trade.
when owning a house, this is like the most taxable instrument the government has once things go bust. Like
Yeah.
when the debt spirals, that's the first thing they come after, your house.
Mm,
And they
mm.
start taxing here, taxing there,
Oh, I
and
didn't
that's
think
an
about
asset
that.
you cannot move. So
Yeah. Oh man, so you're stuck while the tax burden is just going up on you.
exactly. So
Wow. Okay. I'm even more bearish on houses now. I'm only gonna own one share, I think.
Okay, unfortunately, I have to wrap it up. Start it up. Just for our audience, can you remind them where can they follow you, where can they exchange their cryptos on your exchange, and so on?
Absolutely. I mean, the only thing we didn't talk about is just market outlook, which I can summarize. I'm
Yeah, go
super,
ahead.
super, super bullish. Sell all your stuff and buy more Bitcoin. You can use leverage, but no more than like 1.5 if you're brave, you know? Be careful out there. So,
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
I do agree with you. I'm super bullish on it, and I think from our discussion today, it was like an obvious signal about how both bull we are on the
yeah, that's
expectation.
amazing. Yeah,
Uh,
so the exchange is called SideShift.ai. I hope you can put a link somewhere for the viewers.
yeah, we'll have a link.
And yeah, it's a coin swap where you can swap anything to anything. You don't need an account to do it. And if you're an engineer looking for a job, go to sideshift.ai/jobs. And you can follow me on Twitter or X. My username is ABRKN. And I'm sure you can put a link to that one too.
Yes, we'll do. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you.